Support WrestleTalk!
Enable notifications.
NXT is WWE's star factory, or more like its star refinement plant. It takes names from the indie circuit, polishes them up real nice, introduces them to the WWE audience, and then passes them on to the main roster, where they inevitably get grossly mishandled, but that is a video for another time. While the likes of Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, Sasha Banks, and Bayley, to name just a few, are all well known for their time on the black and yellow brand, actually the doors to Full Sail University are ever revolving, and hundreds of names have come and gone through the doors in the 6 years the show has been in its current home. Some you'll recognise, some you'll be surprised about, some you won't be surprised about. It's Chris Jericho, he gets everywhere nowadays. I'm El Fakador Laurie Blake, and here are 19 wrestlers you probably don't remember being in NXT. Number 19, Mickie James. After Asuka arrived in NXT, she tore through the women's locker room like it was fresh, crusty bread and the ring was a delicious steaming bowl of soup. It's a weird simile, but I skipped lunch. With Asuka quickly exhausting the roster on her march to her 914-day winning streak, WWE had to bring in some challengers, read fodder, from elsewhere. One such fodder was Mickie James, who faced Asuka in a one-off appearance at NXT TakeOver Toronto in 2016. I'll say one-off, but Mickie actually performed so well she was offered a full-time contract, and she's still there now, hanging out with Alexa Bliss. Number 18, Too Cool. That's right, Scotty 2 Hotty and Grandmaster Sexay were drafted in to add some star power to NXT's debut WWE Network special Arrival. Too Cool were there to bring the nostalgia in a match against the dominant tag team champions, the Ascension, who are doing just wonderfully right now. Can we all take a moment to just appreciate how well the Ascension are doing on the main roster right now? Okay, moment done. Moment's over. But once upon a time, they beat Too Cool. Number 17, John Cena. Big Match John has never really stooped to having a little match on NXT, but he has showed up at the show a few times. The first was all the way back in 2013 in a post-show segment with Damien Sandow, Enzo Amore, and Big Cass. Surprisingly enough, Cena was fairly warmly received, with fans appreciating him taking the time to show up and support the next generation of talent, before squashing them into oblivion. And he was also sat in the crowd for Arrival, and even jumped in the ring to celebrate with Neville after the show went off the air. All sounds like a much happier time. Less hair, but happier. Number 16, Sami Callihan. Yep, Sami Callihan, he of stapling WrestleTalk magazine to Jimmy Havoc's face fame, was once in NXT. After WWE used its random wrestler name generator, he was dubbed Solomon Crow, which sucks balls. He was then also weirdly kept off television for 2 years. His original debut match against Sylvester Lefort never actually aired, and it took another year for him to debut against Bull Dempsey. Do you remember Bull Dempsey? He was around for a while. Sami then stuck it out for another 8 months, but nothing really came of it, which is a criminal waste of talent from WWE. I mean, Sami's multi-talented. He's a great wrestler, he's a fantastic promo, he has a very rudimentary grasp of DIY skills, knows his way around a screwdriver at least. Number 15, JUSHIN Liger. Aside from being an absolute sucker for a segue and daft enough to dance, Jushin Thunder Liger has also appeared on NXT one time. The Japanese legend took on Tyler Breeze at the first TakeOver Supercard in Brooklyn. Liger was managing his own booking at the time, so didn't have to go through NJPW and wanted to tick WWE off his bucket list. This made NXT the perfect place to do it, as the crowd were fairly knowledgeable and weren't just like, which Power Ranger is this? It also made sense from WWE's perspective, as Breeze got to face a bona fide legend, and it skyrocketed his career. Number 14, the Great Khali. Thank goodness this was a one-time deal. The Great Khali made an appearance on April 17th, 2014 on NXT TV. He interrupted a CJ Parker promo and then destroyed him in a squash match. Cool. Fortunately, he didn't stick around, so the rest of the roster got to carry on just wrestling good matches. And then CJ left and he became Juice Robinson. So all is forgiven, except CJ said he's never going back to WWE, and that bridge is burned. Number 13, Rob Van Dam. NXT has many similarities with ECW, in particular the way that Triple H tries to accentuate the positives and hide the weaknesses of his roster, which is something ECW boss Paul Heyman used to be famous for. Now it's just for following Brock Lesnar around. RVD was one of the trailblazers of the modern style back in his ECW days, so it made sense that he would stop by Full Sail during his final run with WWE in 2013-14 to work with some of the younger talent. In 2013, he made a surprise appearance and defeated Aiden English in a fairly decent outing, and in 2014, he put over NXT champion Neville in what would have been a dream match if both men were in their primes. Again, sounds like a bygone era. Much better set of days. Anything with Neville, nostalgia for. 12, Eva Marie. People did not like Eva Marie in NXT at all. The hardcore NXT fans hated the prospect of this diva coming in and ruining the women's division that they were immensely proud of with all its 4 horsewomen and etc. Eva obviously then milked the animosity for all that it was worth, playing off the crowd's hatred brilliantly. It was basically a proto-smoke show thing that Scarlett Bordeaux is doing. She also managed to do fairly well in the ring, despite one slip-up with Carmella that left her injured, and then Mella was medical bills from that point forward. Number 11, Sheamus. The Great White, the carrot-topped Celt. Sheamus showed up on NXT a few times between 2012 and 2014, wrestling in dark matches after tapings and appearing on a couple of episodes of the show. Sheamus debuted on NXT television in 2013, defeating Luke Harper, and the following year he gave Aiden English a kicking, which is a lovely way to treat up-and-comers. Number 10, Randy Orton. The Viper graced the Full Sail audience in March 2013 for a Road to WrestleMania special edition of NXT TV, which also had Howard Finkel handling the ring announcing. Orton defeated Damien Sandow with an RKO out of nowhere, like he produced it from thin air, like no one was expecting him to do the RKO, as if it's not been his finisher for almost forever. Essentially, it was your basic Randy Orton match, so they should just rename the Viper the Coaster, the Autopilot, the Hand Shandy, allegedly. Number 9, the Bellas. Nikki and Brie Bella first appeared on NXT programming back in 2010 when it was still just a naff game show. Now, NXT is no longer a game show, but the Bellas are still naff. They have also appeared on the modern version of NXT, wrestling on a taping filmed in March 2013, shortly after their return to WWE following a brief hiatus. The twins defeated Cameron and Naomi in under 4 minutes, and now they're strong enough to beat up Ronda Rousey, the baddest woman on the planet. I'm trying to say is live your dreams, people. Live them. Number 8. Juice Robinson. We've touched on Juice already, who was known as CJ Parker in NXT, and the future IWGP United States champion was a relatively well-featured act during his time in the developmental brand. He got loads of TV time, but was mostly used as glorified enhancement talent, because although he appeared on 3 NXT network specials in 2014, Robinson lost every time in short order, putting over Mojo Rawley, Baron Corbin, and Kevin Owens, only one of whom has done well out of that win. So I guess that's revenge of a sort for Juice. Number 7, Chris Jericho. Here he is. Y2J, or should that be Where2J, because he keeps showing up everywhere now. WWE, he was in WCW, he was in ECW, he's in NJPW, he was at All In, and he also appeared on NXT back in 2013. He faced Bray Wyatt, who was on the cusp of being called up to the main roster, who would go on to great things, lion salting off the back of this Jericho match into a star-studded career. It's not happened, is it? Number 6, James Storm. The longtime TNA star made a surprise appearance at NXT's tapings in October 2015, defeating Danny Burch in short order. The Cowboy returned the following month to defeat Adam Rose, but then changed tact and re-signed for Impact, where he remained until earlier this year. There has been speculation of late that Storm will return to WWE for a full-time run, with a much talked about proposed reunion with Beer Money partner Bobby Roode. Thankfully for this reunion, Bobby Roode, who was NXT champion for crying out loud, has literally nothing else going on, so beer money's on the cards, people. Number 5, Richie Steamboat. The son of the great Ricky Steamboat looked to be a can't-miss prospect, the next in the long line of second-generation stars to make it big in WWE. Unfortunately, it never really happened for him. Steamboat appeared on several of the very early NXT tapings in 2012, where he was involved in a feud with Cassius Ohno, but was sidelined with back injury in November. 1 year later, Steamboat was released from his contract and retired from wrestling due to his injuries. Curiously enough, it was a back injury that had cut his father's career short as well. Number 4, Dolph Ziggler. Dolph was the perfect choice of main roster worker to put in front of the Full Sail crowd, as way back when, he was a firm favourite with the hardcore WWE audience. He was also a good choice of opponent for the NXT stars too, with his big bumping, selfless ring style and willingness to work hard, putting everyone over in the process and making himself look great. Why has he not had a proper championship run? His one NXT TV appearance in 2013 was against Rusev, who back then was still doing a gimmick that fell somewhere between Kamala and one of the Wild Samoans, and he's gone on to great things. Has anyone done well on the main roster after leaving NXT? Like, anyone? Number 3, Beretta. After spending 3 years on WWE main roster programming with little to show for it, Beretta was moved to NXT in 2012 to revitalize his career. And he certainly managed more ticks in the win column during his time in NXT than he had in WWE, recording victories over the likes of Luke Harper, Cassius Ohno, and Adam Rose, but never really went anywhere. Where have I heard that story before? Oh yeah, there's 16 other entries on this list, except Randy Orton, who has had too many wins, if anything. Despite receiving a minor push on television, Beretta was released from his contract in January 2013. Against all of the odds, he found great success on the independent circuit and has become a major star in Ring of Honor and New Japan, so bully for you, Beretta. Number 2, Tanga. The son of Haku started in the WWE system in 2009 and made it to the main roster in 2011, teaming with Hunico. Sadly, the duo were mostly confined to live events and C-shows, superstars, and main event, where the real action happens anyway. Lower also wrestled regularly for NXT during this time, although his win-loss record was, should we say, less than favourable. He did make it to a network special though, putting over Adam Rose in the first ever takeover in May 2014, less than a month before he was released from his contract. I mean, he's fine now, so probably no hard feelings there. Number 1, Corey Graves. The only man in WWE to straddle either side of the Raw and SmackDown fence as the colourful voice of both, was a regular competitor on the developmental brand once upon a time. In 2013, he teamed with a first-named Adrian Neville to unseat NXT Tag Team Champions Eric Rowan and Luke Harper, way before they became the Bludgeon Brothers, and then they lost that title 3 months later to the Ascension, who were a big deal in NXT and now are just comedy goths. Graves spent 2 years competing in NXT rings before concussions forced him to call time on his career in 2014 and start calling matches instead. Speaking of NXT, what on earth happened on this week's show? Watch mine and Luke's review by clicking the link on screen now to find out. And give us a subscribe to stay up to date on all of the latest wrestling news. I've been El Fakador, and that was Lucha.